All right. Welcome all to the first meeting, the interest meeting of the NECCDC 2021. The NECCDC stands for Northeastern Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. And now, oh, what was that? Can everyone still see? I heard the sound that normally means the stream
You're
stopped.
good.
Okay. All right. Now, what is the NECCDC? It's an annual event where 10 teams of 8 members compete to secure, manage, and maintain a mock corporate IT environment against a red team. Now, this may seem trivial in nature, but these are well-seasoned hackers that take great joy in our pain, and will do it recurrently. The teams are given a scenario or problem that will explain the situation that we encounter in the environment. Last year, I believe we were Beaver Security. We were coming in as a tech team that was being brought into a municipality to basically reorganize, restructure, and bolster their IT security. Uh, the mock environment has a corporate structure, so when we go in, we'll have CEOs, we'll have CTOs. If we have any incidents, we'll have to respond to the management of the incidents. We'll have management request a new service in the form of injects. So injects are basically task lists. We're given a task, maybe install Drupal on a server. We're like, okay, cool. We have to install, configure, and secure Drupal while simultaneously going through our systems to disinfect them, to find backdoors, to find open connections if anyone's already been there, which they have been. You just have to figure out where. And now a big part about the competition's scoring is red team activity. So anything that the red team does, whether it's break a password, break into our Wi-Fi, get an email, and anything that they do must be reported on, because that red team activity retracts greatly from our score. Uh, you could do keep everything up and running the whole time, but get like a couple data breaches, and that could doom you. But if you report on them, that's a little bit different. So you have to accurately report on red team activity to regain some point. That means, what did they do? How did they do it? How can you stop it? How did you stop it? And how can you not allow it to happen in the future? Response and completion of injects. This is a major priority. They will have multiple. The injects will have multiple tasks in order of priority. So P0, P1, P2. We'll get a couple injects as the meetings go on to go over and sort of mock up on our own time or during meeting time to sort of get a hang of what's going on, how they will come at us, and what they'll be requesting and sort of how. These are essential because they'll be weighed heavily. We could have no services up the entire time, but if we do all of the injects perfectly, we might have a good shot. Now, maintaining services is the third part. Some services will be scored by a scoring engine. So basically, what that means, if we have a website, I think 5 minutes, the scoring engine will ping the website in some manner. If it's locked, we'll give it the password. The scoring engine is out of bounds, so we can give the scoring engine the correct passwords to all of the services it is checking, because it will have to have those passwords to see if it's up. Um, Now, the scoring engine, I couldn't find a picture from last year's. Hold on. This is an old one. Give me one sec. There we go. Oh, yeah, there we go. So this is sort of what the scoring engine will look like. It'll have all the services up. Obviously, they're not up at the moment. They're failing to load, but the service will be on the left. Here we have chat HTTP, uh, domain controller LDAP, domain controller LDAP. Uh, I'm not certain what they mean by drop HTTP. They might mean file loading, but this basically will check and give us a pass or a fail every 5 minutes, and this either ticks up or doesn't tick at all to our score. And this is a decent part of our scoring, because if these go down, we'll have to report on why they went down, and that will give us some points back. So it's convoluted, but it'll start to make sense over time. Now, how do teams compete? Last year was an interesting year because of COVID. The NECCDC was held online. Uh, I would expect that this year we're going to be competing virtually again. They haven't posted anything about it yet, but given how everything's going, I figure for at least the qualifier will be online. And so, what does that mean? We're given 8 jump boxes, one for each team member. The jump boxes are used to connect the team to the competition environment, and these are out of bounds. So the jump boxes cannot be hit. They can't be tampered with. Those are safe, but those can't be used for like file loading and stuff like that. You can't cheat off of it by like RDPing something to it and then from it into the environment. Red team is allowed to pre-infect and tamper with the environment, however, so the internal environment, the one that we're actually working on through the jump boxes, is allowed to be touched way before we have access to it. So there's going to be a numerous amount of things running on it. Last year on my box, there was just some random script pinging to an IP, and that doesn't. You might not think anything of it at the time because there's a million things going on, but that could be a problem. And at the start of the clock, it's a race to fill any gap. Normally, red team will give us 30 minutes of grace period. And when I say grace, I ask you to take it with a grain of salt because it's not really a grace period. They're just testing. They're not hitting. If that makes any sense. They're just looking if any of their back doors are still open, looking to see if any of their passwords still work, looking to see if you've closed any of their connections, closed any of their shells, just playing around, just seeing what you're doing. And after maybe about an hour, they start to play around. But in the qualifier, it's only one day of 8 hours, and at the end of the 8 hours, maybe around 6 hours and 30 minutes, uh, there's not much you can do anymore. And if you haven't filled every hole, that they're going to start burning things, which is a par for the course, but we need to expect and prepare for such. And then teams must maintain a professional channel of communication with upper management. This will mean anytime red team has an activity that we need to do an incident response on, when we get injects, how we respond to them, how we detail the work that we've done. Basically, like talking to your manager at an IT firm or something like that. We have to be very professional and proper. Oh. Now, the roles in the NECCDC. There are a few, but very important roles in the NECCDC. Linux and Windows obviously are huge ones. Last year we had, for the first in my 3 years at this NECCDC, a mainly Windows environment. There was a lot of domain controllers, or not domain controllers, I'm sorry, Active Directory usage. There was a lot of um, IIC usage or IIS usage, a lot of usage with Windows, whereas before it was mostly Linux, Ubuntu, Debian, CentOS. Um, those are where most of the services will be, whether it's websites, obviously on Windows, Active Directory will most likely have an Active Directory. The documentation and liaison is important to respond and to business inquiries from upper management. Basically, this is the person that's going to be writing the injects, writing all of the correspondence to quote unquote upper management. This person is very important because, like I said earlier, the injects and our responses are very important.
Yeah, from past experience, it's pretty fun doing it.
Andrew was our guy last year. He did a great job at keeping them at bay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, the in network visibility, this is basically keeping track of all network traffic. This is what I did last year. I was on a system called Bro or Zeek. It is an application that goes on Linux boxes. I had it on Ubuntu last year. Basically, you put a tap on the network. Basically, you see everything that goes on in the network, and Bro will keep a great track of it. You can see protocols, you can see times, you can see where it's going, where it's from, what port, everything. And this is very important because something's going on. Someone's like, "Hey, something just happened on my box," and as network visibility, you can be like, "Okay, his box is this IP. Let me filter for his IP as the destination. Has anything come to that box that seems weird?" And you can be like, "Oh, well, something just came in on port 22. What could that be?" And then now they have at least something to work on. And now to build on top of that, log management. Basically, this was Dan's job last year. Dan graduated. He was our leader last year. He basically all the boxes will do application and system logs, and these logs were fed into Dan's box, and he oversaw everything that was going on. Basically, as services were starting, stopping, logging their activity. Things were moving around the file system. He was on watch on that. And then similarly with network visibility, someone goes, "What just happened to my box?" Whoever's on log management can go, "Okay, this box is this host name," and just search for that host name and what's going on, what happened. And then they see, "Oh, well, this service just started. Can you go check on this service?" They check the service, and it's not what it says it is. It could say it's Nginx, which is a reverse proxy or HTTP server. It could say it's Nginx, but it could very well not be Nginx. That's why learning the configs of everything that you're doing and just really understanding what's going on, not panicking, is important. Because if you look at the config for it, and it's like pinging to the only line of config is going to some random box on a random IP. It's probably not a server. And firewall management. This may be one of the most crucial points of the NECCDC, as the firewall management is basically the gatekeeper. Last year, Alex, who unfortunately isn't able to make this call, Alex Chermisinov, he was our firewall manager. Basically, he was in charge of keeping everything out that should stay out and keeping everything going out that should go out. He as firewall management, you have every state, every connection going through you. You can see, you can stop, you can do whatever it is you see fit for that. The rules on the Palo Alto is normally the firewall is a Palo Alto, and we'll get more into everything about that as we progress. Uh, there's many ways to secure a Palo Alto firewall, and the red teamers are very good at not allowing you to do that. So being quick and being and understanding what you're doing is very important on that. There is a limited number of seats that can be filled. There's only 8 main team members, and the seats are going to be filled mainly or partly based off of attendance. Obviously, if people can't make it, we're going to make different meetings and other such. And now, how will the meeting operate? There'll be weekly training meetings, and as game time gets closer, we'll meet more frequently just to get the muscle memory and everything down. We'll start with an empty environment and build out ourselves. So, like I was saying before, understanding your configs. I feel that when you build something from scratch and you learn how to configure it, you understand how that's configured, obviously. So when you go in and it's like a very different configuration than you're used to, you can see that very obviously. Whereas if you had never seen that config before, you might walk in and be like, "Oh, this just looks like the configuration for this service. Why is this weird?" We're going to build to suit past environments. We won't really get much information about the current environment that we're going to play on until around November ish. So around then we can really start to drill into what we're going to face. And like I said, this is advantageous for checking configs for malicious settings or code. We're going to have weekly topics that will guide the construction of the environment. So basically, one week we'll be going over, say, the operating system you're running, making sure everyone is comfortable with the operating system that they're on, and then we'll go from there into maybe service configuration. We'll start setting up previous services and starting to get them to talk to each other. And again, like I said earlier, the attendance to the weekly meetings will determine your seat in the competition somewhat. Attendance will not rule out people if their schedules do not match up. We'll discuss with these individuals who are not able to make the meeting time, and log attendance by submitting the form pinned in the NECCDC channel. So I will post the forms after the meeting, but once everyone's enrolled, you'll see the pinned form in the NECCDC channel. And now, basically, what does this look like? I don't know how Discord really takes to playing videos over Discord, so I'm gonna post all of these as well. These are great fun to watch, an excellent way to end the competition. Every year at the end, when we were in person, of course, we would come into a big banquet hall, and they would just have this playing on the screen. Whether it was insulting or funny, that would be up to the person. But I definitely encourage you take a watch to these because they're very entertaining after you get over the pain and suffering. And that's all. I'm gonna get to posting the forms. Does anyone have any questions? Yes. So excellent. Okay. Okay. Yes. Logs and configs are gonna be our bread and butter. The Oh, we got a message here. But absolutely, I was log management 2 years ago, and it's something. It's an important role because when someone's like, "What's going on with my computer?" You can see what's going on. There's gonna be a log from whether it's the operating system, the service, or maybe even the script is leaving logs if they're that cocky. But that's absolutely. Oh, we're installing tools right off the bat. We installed so much stuff on the boxes. We'll progress into those muscle memories and everything that we'll have. But I installed Bro at the right start of the competition to start getting information about our network. Dan was installing Kibana, and we all installed various suites of either log sending, like log aggregation, and another program called OS Query that basically gave you statistics about the operating system in log format. So we're going to be installing tons of stuff, but we have to be very quick to get into. Andrew, please mute your mic. Thank you. We have to be very quick to get into the network and be confident that there's nothing there that shouldn't be. And normally what that means is killing the states in the beginning. So restarting the firewall will kill every shell within the environment. And then from there it's a race against the clock to start killing those services and keeping the good ones. And then from there we can start installing the things that we need and configuring them to build out. And then I saw Albert, you sent me a message.
Logan, I honestly like I don't know much about this, and I don't really have a set expectation for what I'll be, specializing in. Let's say I get to be a competitor. Um, so will that be decided later, or should I pick one now and then specialize, or like how is that working?
You pick what you wanna do, and we'll build you out. So they'll likely be someone that's in a role or was in that role, so you'll gain experience from them. So, like Alex said he was interested in log management. If there's anyone else that's interested in log management as well, then we'll have a team to build out on log management. But if there's not, then I'll work with Alex because I was on log management 2 years ago, and that was my bread and butter. And that is a very important role as well. So those things will build them out. And that was also part of Bert's question is he said he was asking about the experience, the baseline experience or knowledge needed to play. Uh, Baseline, I don't know if there is a baseline, but wherever you are, we'll start building you out and get comfortable with. I guess your baseline is where you are already comfortable with, and then from there, or we'll build you from there.
Can you go back to the role slide? I'm just getting curious what the roles were again.
Absolutely. I'll put it up here, and then I'll post in the announcements real quick the form because the form has all the roles and everything on it that you can say this is what I'm interested in, and we'll get a good spread of what everyone wants to do.
And what exactly? Okay, so you're gonna take a poll, I guess.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah. No. I might just be speaking for myself, but I truly like. I want to do it all, but I have no idea which I should really focus on. So I'll figure it out later.
yeah. I mean, if you want to do all of them, select all of them, and then just keep bouncing around. We'll have people stationed around, and you just say, "I'm thinking about log management today," and you work with Alex and I. You're like, "Oh, I'm thinking about firewall management today," and I guess my answer doesn't change. You work with Alex and I, but it's a different Alex.
Hey, Logan.
What's going on?
My phone's about to die, but I'm still good for injects and if maybe like 1 or 2 boxes if you need.
Beautiful, Andrew. That sounds great.
All right. See you later.
Don't let your phone die.
Yeah, I need to run, so
Go, go, go.
be right back.
No worries. I'm posting the form now.